Hello, I'm Eunjae Kim for Relearn to Share, and today I'll be introducing the social contract theories of Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, and Jean-Jacques Rousseau to you. Now, before we dive right into their theories, let's ask a question to ourselves. What is a social contract? The concept of social contract is what lies at the very root of our governments and nations. Let's think about the way we live in the current world. There are laws that the government has created that shows the limits of our rights and freedom, and we have to keep those laws. And in return, we are a member of the society, and we get to keep our private properties, and we are protected so we do not have to worry about getting killed the next day. And this is exactly what the social contract talks about. The social contract theory mostly holds to the meaning that individuals who are in the state of nature, or the state without authority, agreed to give up some of their freedom and rights to get protection from the government. And the social contract theory was a way for the philosophers to explain how the government and the nations were created. Now I'll be introducing the theories of the philosophers who are famous for their social contract theories, which are Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, and Jean-Jacques Rousseau. And although he had a different view on it, I'll also be introducing John Stuart Mill's idea on the social contract. Let's start with Hobbes. Thomas Hobbes was an English philosopher who lived in the 17th century, famously known for his theory on Leviathan. He negatively defined the state of nature and argued for the necessity of absolute authority. Before we learn about Hobbes' theory on the social contract, we will first look at the way he defined the state of nature. His state of nature can be represented by this very phrase, bellum omnium contra omnes. This is a Latin phrase that means the war of all against all. In Thomas Hobbes' state of nature, all humans have similar or equivalent physical and mental capabilities, and that even if there is a slight difference between them, it would be so minor that it wouldn't affect each other's status and their properties. And due to this equality of competence, people will have similar goals and will work to achieve or gain whatever their interest is. However, the problem appears when multiple individuals want to have the same thing. With limited resources, those individuals will become enemies and will try to harm or win each other to gain it, creating inevitable competition and distrust against each other. This perfidy encourages individuals to seek ways to protect themselves from potential threats. And the way they came up was using physical powers to run over others, which is also called the help of war. And although Hobbes states that every person must seek peace with others, he does allow individuals using physical powers if used as a way to protect oneself. Thomas Hobbes states that a state of nature that lacks absolute authority becomes a state of war. And to overcome the state of war, Hobbes introduces the idea of commonwealth. Commonwealth is the concept of society where the majority works out with each other and agrees to transfer one's rights to the common power. The common power is the medium that restricts individuals to work for the interest of the many. And this agreement is done under the condition that the other also has to give theirs. And the authority of this common power also comes from this very agreement. Because this commonwealth was built based on this reciprocal contract, it cannot be broken from one side, nor can the minority disobey these rules, and the commonwealth is free from all punishments and critics. John Locke was also an English philosopher who lived in the 17th century. Comparing Locke's state of nature to that of Hobbes, Locke defines it in a much more optimistic way. Locke's state of nature is a state of complete freedom where an individual is capable of controlling one's actions with reason and can dispose one's private property without having to concern others' wills or consent. And his state of nature is operated under the law of nature, which states that an individual should not harm others in terms of health, property, free will, or life, as all individuals are equal and independent. However, Locke's state of nature lacks the law, the judge, and the authority that can act in a situation where the law of nature is violated. And all individuals have the potential to hold power to execute each other under the law of nature. And this brings up a problem. Due to this lack of authority, the state of war continues, with every individual being able to harm each other and with a conflict between the rights of individuals. While Hobbes' state of nature, the state of war is inevitable and is caused by competition, Locke states states that the state of war begins due to the lack of authority that can control or adjust the conflict between individuals' rights. Another important concept in John Locke's state of nature is the idea of private property. His theory is distinctive that he defined the right of property as a natural right. He claimed that for an object to become one's private property, then there should have been a labor given to that object. The reason why individuals made the social contract, according to Locke, is primarily to protect one's rights on private property, along with the reasons such as the protection of their lives and free will. To protect their own lives, free will, and private properties, individuals voluntarily, by their own will, chose to give up some of their rights and earn protection by being a part of the society. And those individuals that chose to be part of the society gave their authority on the law up to the society. Compared to the idea of Hobbes and absolute authority, Locke argued that even though society is formed, the actual sovereignty of the society still belongs to the citizens. For Locke, the authority of the legislative branch only exists due to the need of the citizens. If the legislature uses its powers to oppose then the citizens would always have the power to claim their authority and bring its original function back. The last philosopher is Jean-Jacques Rousseau. He was a German philosopher who lived in the 18th century, and he argued that inequality exists in the state of nature and that people give up some of their rights and gain protection from the government. Rousseau's state of nature is dominated by interactions of indifference, and he believed that inequality existed due to the idea of private property. In his state of nature soon shifted to a social state, since he believed that all humans have their sociability inside them. And then the social state soon developed into a civilization. However, the concept of civilization in Rousseau's theology is what corrupts humans and makes them evil beings. Rousseau states that all humans are born kind and are kind in the state of nature, but as society develops and civilizations are formed, humans are no longer in the state of indifference, and the interactions between individuals corrupt human beings. Unlike Hobbes' state of nature, inequality exists in the state of nature in Rousseau's, and it is caused by the idea of private property, contrasting to Locke's idea that private property is one of the most basic rights in the state of nature. And Rousseau argues that through the social contract and the law created due to the social contract, the inequality between private properties and the inequalities in physical abilities can become equal. If this video was helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in another video. Bye!